stretcher. Fortunately, he didn't appear. Another doctor appeared, a fellow named Fagan, Kevin Fagan. And he said, "What are you here for, son?" I said, "Get me right foot cut off, doctor." He said, "Oh, you don't want that, do you?" I said, "Christ, no, of course no." He said, "Well, let me have another look." So he had another look, and he said, "Look," he said, "No," he said, "you won't take that off." He said, "I think we can get that better." Somewhere, I don't heaven knows where, he produced some powder called formalin powder. I subsequently found out it's made of formic acid and no, wait a minute. Oh, I don't know. Formaldehyde, he called it, formaldehyde. So it's called iodoform powder, made of iodine and formalin. And I'd never heard of this, of course. I wasn't in the ambulance corps. But cleaned out the ulcers with a suppuration, cleaned it out, bloody painful. But when he got the a lot of the muck out of these ulcers, he filled the holes up with this formalin powder. Iodoform powder. And no bandage, just put a banana leaf over it. You'll see him in a week's time. I was carted back to the hut, and at that time I remember the ulcers they had maggots in them, the flies, blowflies got on them, and flies got to get onto a sore, and they'd lay some eggs, and the maggots would be running around inside there. And, a bit frightening to see your legs swollen up like this with pussy holes on your legs and see maggots running around it. It was a bit frightening.
How long did it take, you know, obviously it improved, how long did it take to heal? Or did it ever heal?
I went back after the week, and Dr. Fagan said, he said, "It's looking much better, isn't it?" I said, "I wasn't going to look," but I said, "Is it?" And he said, "It's looking much better." So he put more powder in it for another term, I don't know how long, but each time I went back, he said, "I think we've got them clean." Miracle. One of the most wonderful memories of Dr. Kevin Fagan. He was supposed to have worked for 32 hours on one stretch without a wink of sleep. Now, that was what I was told, and whether it's true or not, I don't know, but he was always there. He was a magnificent man.
And that was at Kanchanaburi, was it?
Yep.
Do you know anything, we'll just stick with Fagan for a moment, do you know anything more about him when he went back to Singapore?
I didn't strike Kevin Fagan again.
No, well, just to extend it, he very nearly died when he was back in Singapore.
I didn't know. I knew that he was sick. I heard about that, but I didn't know. I didn't have any further contact with him. But,
okay.
I thought, Jesus Christ, this man was to me. And,
so when did you move back to Singapore? Well, you probably can't tell me the date.
I can't tell you the date.
But you, after a time, you were in a party to go back there?
We put on a train, and I have no recollection whatever of leaving Sonkirai in the train back to Singapore. I have no recollection of going from the railway station to Singapore to Salarang Barracks.
Yes.
It's blank. It mystifies me, this. I was a pretty sick bloke, I suppose, but it must have been a few days on the train coming down, and I don't ever have any recollection of getting from the Singapore station out to Salarang Barracks, none at all. I was laying on the floor in one of the big huts there at Salarang, and lying alongside me was another bloke in the same condition as I was in, and Medico was coming around looking at us. I knew Dr. Billy Bye. I'd known of him somewhere. He knelt down alongside the floor alongside me, and he said, shook him, he said, "How are you feeling, son?" Oh, didn't move, and he spoke a bit loud. He said, "How are you feeling, son?" He opened his eye. He said, "Speak up." He said, "I want to know how you speak." And he shook him a bit further. I leaned over helpfully and I said, "You want to speak up, mate?" I said, "Because the old bastard's pretty deaf." And he looked at me, he said, "Yeah, but the old bastard's not that bloody deaf." If only the earth had opened up and the whole swallowed me, I'd have been happy. But
can I just ask you about some of the other doctors who were in,
Sure.
in F Force, and just in case you had any contact with them, there was an old officer by the name of Bon Rogers.
I knew old Bon Rogers, but
Yeah.
I don't have any recollection of bumping Bon.
No, Victor Brand.
No, I don't remember. I know Brandy was with 229th Battalion, but Vic Brand, but I don't recall him being with me at any stage on the launch. Yeah. I've taken out of the Australian circuit. I've been with the British group, and the other Aussies in the Australian hospital at KenGray were obviously odds and sods from blokes who'd been dropped off that first working party, first train party.
Yes.
And a couple of my unit blokes were in that. I don't have any recollection of any of the other doctors.
Yeah. Now, I mentioned Lloyd Carl to you, but there was a Frank Carl there as well.
And yeah, I heard of them, but I didn't have any personal contact with them.
Did you have any contact, say, with Bruce Hunt at any time?
Only when he came through KenGray camp on his way going up into Burma.
Yes.
And he was a magnificent person, Bruce Hunt.
Why would you have been aware of him going through? Did he come into the hospital hut, or and was Peter Henry?
Peter Henry.
Yeah.
He was a wonderful man, but I learnt more about Bruce Hunt post-war.
Now, just going back, sticking with KenGray for a little while, because that's where your most traumatic experiences were. What was when a POW died, were they generally cremated or were they buried?
They generally cremated.
Yeah.
There was a few. They did bury a lot of them on the other side of the river, from the hospital hut.
Oh.
That's where Peter Henry took they were flap windows, and the windows were open holes, but they had a hinge, and a flap would come down to keep the rain out.
Yes.
But these were open this day, and he said, "See across there, son? See those crosses? That's where you'll be if you don't eat your food."
Now that river was a very fast-flowing and clean river, wasn't it? In front of the hut?
I don't recall that. I was a patient in the hospital.
Yeah. You were never taken down and bathed in it?
No, that's where Jimmy Burst used to go and get water there to wash me down.
Yeah.
I never got into that river at all.
Were you aware of any rapids a little bit further down?
I didn't see the river, I don't know.
Okay, now you also mentioned, well I know that you've commented on this, is that when the line was finished and you became aware for the first time of the A-Force boys coming through.
Yep.
And a few Americans. Do you want to just comment about that?
I remember that instance where this was you lose track of time in a prisoner of war camp. One day's the same as the last and the next. But the railway line was very close to the boundary fence of KenGray camp. And we were just sitting there when a train came down loaded with Australians. And we said, "Christ, the bloke's further up." I didn't know anything about blokes being on A-Force. Didn't know where they'd gone. And there's trucks coming down, and these fellas, some of the fellas had a hat, something like yours, and other diggers' hats. And one of the fellas on these platforms were open trucks, they were like platforms only, shelter on them. And we were picking out a few Aussies that we thought we knew. And one fellow I saw was a fellow named Johnny Hunt, who was from my unit. And they called out names of blokes that had died, and the train was pretty slow, it wasn't tearing along, it was going slowly, so we had a chance to have a bit of a mumble.